Dr. Adukwu-Bolujoko, thank you very much for coming through. Now, in terms of the work that you do as president of the Nigeria Institute of Management, you have pledged to promote the art and science of good management. What does that mean in a Nigerian context?
Well, you know, promoting the art of science and of management is a universal thing. In the Nigerian context, we don't do less. We expect managers to drive best practice in all they do in the organization. And as the president of Nigerian Institute of Management, an organization that is membership and knowledge-based, I have the mandate to drive the vision of Nigerian Institute of Management, which is to be the source and symbol of management excellence. It means that I have to make sure that all the members of Nigerian Institute of Management, that spans about 200,000, are trained regularly, and they receive information, periodicals and journals regularly, and that they go to their monthly meetings where they have their management talk every month. And Nigerian Institute of Management has outlets in all the states in this country, 36 states, and we train every day, build capacity of the teaming employees of the public and private sector. So we want to follow and make sure that managers work along the ethics of governance in this country, and that they drive best practice in everything they do through increasing their capacity. Yes.
All right. Now, Dr. Adukwu-Bolujoko, we know that post the credit crisis, management task globally has been to cut costs and to boost employee performance because company margins have decreased for many, many entities across the world. How has Nigeria been affected by the credit crisis, and has that in any way changed management fundamentals in the country?
Yes, yeah, you know, globalization is one that no country is exempted from having the feel or taking part in it. And in Nigeria, the happenings in the globe and Nigeria being a player in the global field affects us negatively because it is an unequal relationship, like you know. So in Nigeria, the cost of doing business is about twice the cost of doing business in developed world. Because in the country, you find that Asian countries flood this place with our market with their goods and making the made in Nigeria goods less attractive and indeed less competitive. And you know, in this bid, the opportunity for also skilled labor to transverse is wide. And so it brings about tremendous brain drain in the country. Globalization, until we focus on it and regulate it, you know, to the interest and advantage of the underdeveloped world, is doing a lot. Our quoted company, their values are declining every day. And we find also that we can't compete in terms of productivity, you know, cost of producing goods. Our goods can't compete. And most of the time we discover that globalization leads to underemployment in this place and a lot of redundancy of men and of plant and machinery.
Right.
In our country, we are experiencing deindustrialization as a result. Our factories are closing up because goods are coming in from all over the world.
All right. So,
and they are coming cheaper.
So, Dr. Bolujoko, in terms of what can be done to boost the skills of managers in order to foster productivity, what is your institute doing? And of course, what are you doing in terms of lobbying the government, because you have the president's ear by sitting on his advisory council?
The institute is trying to develop capacity, and the institute is bringing information that will position people to kind of developing businesses in areas that the world out there are not developing for the people in the country. That's what we are doing. And we are insisting that leaders drive proper vision for the nation so that we can find areas of our strength and develop the areas of our strength in order that we can compete with the outside world. Okay. We have areas of strength. For instance, in agriculture, we be able to beat many nations in those areas. So the Institute is focusing on bringing out new areas and selling this out to people in the public and private sector so we can run on these tracks rather than compete in the areas that already we have top competitors who are outdoing us. Okay. That's what we are doing in the next 3 years.
Okay, Dr. Adukwu-Bolujoko, I'm going to come back to you in just a second. I want to get the views of our guest host, Chris Haramsir, who's with me here in studio. Foreign investors clamoring to go into Nigeria. There's a critical mass in this country. The economy is set to grow by 7% over the next few years. Huge opportunities for infrastructure investment. But investors are wary when they go into Nigeria. They don't understand the nuances of culture, for instance. They need clarity on labor laws. And they want to ensure that they're also entering sectors where they can have a competitive advantage, not where they're going to be competing with everybody else who can do all sorts of other things, almost like the dynamic with the South Africans in manufacturing, competing with the Chinese in terms of what they do very, very well. Do what you can do and you can do independently.
Yes, of course. You always have to make sure that your foreign investors have an equal playing field for a start. What are the labor legislation in that specific country? Will he be able to make a profit giving his risk? And then, of course, the cost of doing business. We've seen it throughout Africa. We've seen it with the intra-Africa trade. The cost of doing business is just too big for foreign investors, to get involved. You got exactly the same in South Africa. So if you can, like this institute, or get your management on board, so to make sure that over a longer term, you get the management, local management, so you can see how foreign investors which will come in can take part in promoting that business as a partner. That's the way to go forward. And in what terms can the government make sure that the cost of business for a foreign investor coming in, the playing fields are exactly the same as the world markets?
Okay, Dr. Adukwu-Bolujoko, can you answer this question for us? We know Nigeria has Vision 2020 to be a G20 economy by the year 2020, but some of the impediments are things beyond your control. Energy supply, for instance, constant supply of electricity, a skills labor force within the economy, and just a sense of rule of law. These are things that you can implore the government to do, but within the ambit of your work, how much influence do you really have to get managers thinking very clearly about these investor concerns?
In what we want to do, or what we are doing now, is that we are insisting that people follow business ethics, and we are sanctioning people who are not doing well. We have corporate governance rules. Hitherto, we were not obeying these rules, but Nigerian Institute of Management is chartered now, and the charter means that we have a disciplinary team, a disciplinary committee, and we also have a tribunal where if any manager errs, we apply sanction. And furthermore, the country now is being channeled and ruled and directed properly. The Vision 2020 is having a person who has passion in driving it. The president himself is the chairman of the committee involved in creating, making sure that our electricity is coming back to function properly. He is building infrastructure. We are putting things in place. We are putting regulations in place. And we are following and we are insisting that managers follow these regulations. And we are building their capacity. We have MOU with universities in many parts of the world, bringing in current information to the managers in this country, and the managers are keen. And I want to tell you that things are changing in Nigeria. The managers are more focused right now than we used to be.
Question to you. A final question to you. This is a perception issue. Most people are really nervous when they come into Nigeria. They think they're going to encounter corruption at every element of the management chain, at every element of a transaction. And this becomes really crucial to ensure that there are ethics and codes of conduct in terms of what it is that managers are bound to and what it is that shareholders and directors of companies can do in terms of reining in managers. What's being done in terms of good governance practices?
You see, but some of the times people exaggerate the process of corruption in Nigeria. I do business in Nigeria, and I want to let you know that corruption in Nigeria is not as you hear about it out there. You know, people do clean business in this place, and the government has put in place agencies that check corruption. We have many agencies that make sure that public servants don't overly do what they should not do. And in the Institute, we are insisting that people follow the ethics of work. And right now, we are sanctioning even the high and the low now who engage in corruption. See, the point is that we have come to know our weaknesses, and we have made the rule of law strong so that we apply it. And I feel that because the present president is driving the rule of law, corruption is reduced. Corruption is reduced, and we are sure that very soon we will begin to not be known for being a country that parade corrupt civil servants nor public or private managers.
All right.
I want to assure you, yeah.